Y'all, word on the streets is that DI's own adopted daughter, the one he raised like blood, has stepped into the spotlight, and she's not whispering, she's pointing fingers right at Ashton Kutcher. Yes, that Ashton Kutcher. And what she's saying, allegedly, it's not that he stood by and did nothing. No, she claims he helped. And y'all, the moment that her name gets dropped and her story starts to spread, suddenly everybody's turning their heads, especially toward one person. Mila Kunis. Apparently she knew too, but today we're diving deep into how Hollywood's anti-trafficking poster boy Ashton Kutcher might have been hiding the darkest secrets behind Diddy's infamous party, all while putting on a heroic front and pretending to fight the very thing he was allegedly surrounded by. And if even a fraction of this is true, y'all, we're talking potential federal indictments. Stick around, because what you're about to hear might just shatter everything you thought you knew about You Got Punked Ashton Kutcher. But let's rewind a little bit, shall we, before the lawsuits, before the raids, before the headlines about freak-off parties and NDAs being torn up. Crazy Ashton Kutcher and Diddy were thick thieves, not just paparazzi flicks or red carpet run-ins. No, I'm talking real friendship. Back in the mid-200s, they rebranded themselves as part of a modern-day rap pack with Jamie Foxx. So Ashton and Diddy were on James Corden's show talking about how they met, and let's just say it wasn't exactly the sweetest moment. Diddy goes, "I heard you were going to punk me, and I don't think that's a good idea." And Ashton basically fired back with, "I don't think that's the way you said it."
I was doing Making the Band on MTV, he was doing Punked. Yeah. And I gave him a call one day and I said, I heard that you are going to punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's the way you said it.
But instead of throwing hands or starting drama, they ended up becoming besties. Go figure. He trained for some marathons together, and Diddy even said Ashton inspired him to run the New York City Marathon. But what folks forgot was where the training was happening, in private gyms, penthouses. Diddy's party surrounded by people who had been subpoenaed left, and right then Ashton Kutcher pops up on Hot Ones. And when asked about those infamous Diddy parties, his reaction, "It wasn't normal. I've got a lot." "I can't tell," he said. Then he stopped and thought and added, "I can't tell that one either."
Favorite genre of anecdote, if you
really?
have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling.
You could almost see the flashbacks in his eyes, and now that we know those parties actually involved minors, sex trafficking, NDA, celebrities being taped without consent, that pause, it definitely hits different. But remember when Ashton Kutcher was being praised like he was some kind of savior for folks that have been trafficked? Well, he was out here testifying in Congress, tearing up on the stand child exploitation. He even co-founded Thorn, an organization focused on fighting child trafficking and online sexual. He claimed he'd seen FBI raid footage of terrible things that no one should see. Interview 3:22/3:36. His goal to be that Hollywood star who actually stepped up and did something real about it. People believed in him, they trusted him. But now these same people are looking at Ashton Kutcher with a side eye, because how are you going to be in the rooms where it's allegedly happening and pretend you didn't see anything? Well, one user on X put it plainly, nobody going to ask the outspoken celebrity advocate against human trafficking Ashton Kutcher how he missed his literal BFF Diddy being a trafficker. Y'all, this isn't a stretch, that's a real-life question, because Ashton Kutcher wasn't just near Diddy, he was in his circle. They train, travel, and party together. And get this, people are now saying that Ashton knew about Diddy's parties because he was in them. But this is where it gets even wilder. Diddy's adopted daughter, let's just call her Ava for now, allegedly told close friends that Ashton wasn't just around, he was involved. She said Ashton Kutcher would pull her aside during these parties, introduce her to industry friends, and make her feel like she was supposed to be there. And y'all, this is where the grooming angle comes in, because she had just started out looking up to Ashton as a mentor, even seeing him as a big brother. But behind closed doors, whispers suggest that Ashton Kutcher was playing a part in something much bigger, possibly helping set the stage for Day's maneuvers. And rumors also hint that Mila Kunis might have sensed something wasn't quite right, but chose to keep quiet, likely due to her career and public image. But sources close to her suggest that while Ma would never directly confront Ashton about it, she was known to make remarks about the girls around him, implying they were far too young for his circle. And now people are starting to connect the dots, because there's video proof of Ashton saying creepy stuff on camera, like the time he joked about waiting for Hillary Duff to turn 18.
Is in Lizzie McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen, and she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18. along with the Olsen twins. Any 15.
Or when Mila, at just 14 years old, said on the Rosie O'Donnell show that Ashton Kutcher was creeping on her during filming.
You know what's funny is when she was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
That's
right?
probably your first kiss ever, right?
It was my first kiss. Why someone bet you made with Danny about our first kiss?
No, it wasn't the first kiss. It was like a second or third kiss.
It was the first. It was like the first week.
No, it was not the first week.
Whatever. Let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you what happened.
No. Okay, so I've never kissed a guy. So I was so. I mean, you know, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, "Oh, don't worry."
Let's just talk about Danny Masterson's mess. Yes, Danny Masterson from that 70s show. He got convicted for Ashton, and Mila didn't just stay quiet. They wrote letters begging the judge to go easy on him. They called him a role model, a good father, and aspiration. While two women were saying that he ruined their lives, the backlash was so intense that Ashton had to resign from his own foundation. "I cannot allow my error and judgment to distract from our efforts," he said in his resignation letter, but it was too late. The mask had already slipped. Now check this timeline out though, because once you line it up, the coincidences stopped feeling random. Ashton parties and Diddy's parties now confirmed to involve trafficking, and Ashton defends Danny Masterson's son, and Masterson's son gets convicted of a Ashton linked to Brittany Murphy and mysterious death she had, and Ashton tied to the Hollywood Ripper trial, another young woman that was, and still folks want to believe that Ashton didn't know anything. It's not a coincidence, it's a pattern now. There is where things get really scary though. Multiple insiders close to the federal investigation say that Kutcher was allegedly featured in more than one of Diddy's leaked Diddy surveillance tapes, the tapes that investigators claim were secretly recorded at Diddy's penthouses, his yacht parties, and yes, his freak-offs. We're talking hours of hidden footage, celebrities, underage girls, drug use, and what law enforcement is calling evidence of organized trafficking and blackmail. And what the reason that this even came out, well, because Ashton was allegedly spotted in one of those tapes looking extremely tense, surrounded by girls who didn't look legal, and it gets even more disturbing. One private investigator alleged that Ashton had been cooperating quietly with the FBI since early 2024 to avoid a subpoena, but word in the street says that Kutcher was now expecting to be subpoenaed anyway. Sources close to Kutcher have revealed he is deeply concerned and anxious about being linked to the controversy surrounding Combs. Well, let's not ignore Mila Kunis, because she isn't some innocent bystander in all of this. It has been clear how weird Ashton and Mila's dynamic has been from day when she was 14 when she got cast and Ashton was 19. There's literal video footage and proof of Ma saying that Masterson's son was egging Ashton on to tongue kiss her during filming.
Dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her. What would you stick your tongue in my mouth or some?
What? No.
$10.
You're making it
But
sound...
let's be real, in that scene, she was practically a child, but there is growing speculation that Mila may have been groomed right in front of the cameras under the bright lights of the studio. Some online voices believe that both Masterson and Ashton played a role in that disturbing dynamic, and that the fact that she eventually married Ashton only adds to the uneasiness. But that's not just unsettling, many are calling it full-blown Hollywood nightmare. And if you think that she didn't know about Diddy's parties, y'all be for real. She chose to stay home while Ashton went to them. Multiple reports say she was never present when Ashton attended Diddy's parties, and that wasn't by accident. Here's where the whole thing's turned political and sinister. There are rumors that Kutcher was being backed by Ron Burrell. Now Burrell is a billionaire who has deep ties into the both Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein cases. Burrell's name came up in Epstein's flight logs multiple times, and according to leaked docs, he was a major Democratic donor who helped fund Hollywood parties, campaigns, and yes, Diddy events. So while Ashton was out here preaching about save the children, he was also getting checks from the same circles that funded predators. How's that for hypocrisy? And the feds allegedly knew it. To a sealed witness transcript supposedly mentions Merkel's financial backing of these events and Ashton's presence, at least 3 of them. But get this, a well-placed source says Ashton was warned by his lawyers back in early 2024 to distance himself from Burrell and Combs immediately. Even Ma echoed the same warning, telling him he needed to stay far away from Diddy. But the damage had already been done. Now, let's talk about Brittany Murphy. There's a conspiracy that surrounds her. Remember her, the vibrant, talented actress who suddenly died in 2009. The official cause of death, pneumonia and anemia, but that never sat right with fans or with experts. They believe that Diddy might have had something to do with her death, And when you really think about it, there might be some truth to it. Rumor has it that Britney had confided in friends saying she felt paranoid and like she was being surveilled, and she allegedly feared she knew too much about a certain powerful people in Hollywood, and who were some of her closest connections, her ex Ashton Kutcher and Diddy, who she was even photographed with at some points. Now some theories are now suggesting that Britney might have witnessed something during those infamous parties. Even her husband, who also died mysteriously months later, had said she being targeted. Was Ashton a part of that world? He claims he was shocked when Britney died, but people aren't buying it anymore, especially not after all these dots are starting to connect. Look, this isn't just saying that Ashton Kutcher is guilty of trafficking, but we're just asking real questions that the media hasn't been brave enough to ask, because when someone builds their entire brand on being a hero, a protector, but spends his private time surrounded by predators, even Joe Rogan had his doubts, questioning whether they truly had no idea what was going on. They always talked openly about how there's no party like a Diddy party, and when it came to Ashton Kutcher, Rogan didn't hold back, wondering out loud, did he really have no idea?
Many guys were on video saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." How many people like openly talked about being there?
LeBron?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher, all these people.
This is not a good guy, and how could he be a good guy? Let's keep giving wolf in sheep's clothing. And now Diddy's adopted daughter. Well, she's just the first voice. Others will likely come forward, and whispers are turning into confessions, screenshots are turning into subpoenas. So, Ashton, looks like you need a lawyer up, but here's something that you probably didn't notice. While Ashton's being spiraling through controversy after controversy, Maluna has gone radio silent back when Ashton got exposed for defending Danny Masterson's son Ma, and her husband popped up with a weak apology.
The pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character.
But ever since Diddy's raids began, nothing, not one word. She hasn't posted publicly, and she hasn't been photographed with Ashton, but word was that there's no way in hell Ashton nor Mila would be showing any sort of public support for Diddy right now. An insider claimed that further revealed, regardless of Ashton's long history with him, he has distanced himself from Diddy since Cassie's lawsuit, and even more since the wake of the new ones, and honestly, that silence is speaking volumes. But here's the twist that could blow this whole thing wide open. Whispers on the street said that there's a leaked audio tape from Diddy's recording studio that is being analyzed by federal investigators, and guess whose voice is allegedly on the tape? Ashton Kutcher. Remember that rumor has it that an audio recording exists where Diddy, Ashton, and an unidentified guest can be heard laughing about so-called initiations, according to whispers. One of the voices allegedly making a chilling comment about someone being clueless about what's coming, followed by a twisted welcome to the industry. Now again, it hasn't been released publicly yet, and the feds haven't confirmed identities on the tape. But if even a fraction of that audio is real, that's not speculation anymore, that's evidence, and Ashton could be facing time. But let's not forget, this entire video started when the adopted daughter, who's been quiet for years, kept under wraps, known only by close insiders. But as soon as the raids happened, she allegedly began speaking through proxies, leaking just enough to put Ashton on edge. Now, some claims that she was gifted into Diddy's care as a part of a hush-hush arrangement with a struggling model in the late 90s. Others say she was taken within the industry itself, someone's child, someone silenced. But regardless of her origin, she knows what happened, and apparently she's preparing a formal statement which could involve alleged trafficking surveillance. Ashton's name being present on several event guest lists, and Ma's off camera reactions. According to rumors circulating online, a federal agent reportedly confided in a whistleblower blog, warning that the tapes in question could spell disaster for the entertainment industry. They're being described as a kind of doomsday file. Paca could take a major A-lister down one by one if ever made public. And as for Ashton, his name is allegedly tied to at least 3 of these infamous party guest lists, and insiders suggest that this goes far beyond celebrity gossip. We're talking possible RICO-level coordination. And if these tapes ever see the light of day, Ashton might just be the first to go down, but sources say he definitely wouldn't be the last. So let me ask again, what did Ashton Kutcher know? What did he see in those rooms? What did he hear at these parties? And most importantly, why hasn't he said a word? Maybe he's scared, maybe he knows his secrets are about to come out, or maybe, just maybe, he's guilty.